Hello, everyone. Welcome to the grand finale of the sixth edition of TCS iON IntelliGem. I would like to call upon Ms. Shalini Gopalakrishnan, Head, TCS iON IntelliGem and School Education Engagements, to share a few words about the competition.
A happy new year to everyone gathered here today, and a warm welcome to the national grand finale of the sixth edition of TCS iON IntelliGem. Hearty congratulations to all our finalists. In the last few years, educational institutions, policies, and forums have stressed upon the need to inculcate the much needed 21st century skills in young learners at an early age. With the advance in AI, this need has increased manifold, surprising speed and agility. At TCS iON, with this foresight, IntelliGem was conceptualized as early as 2018. The purpose then was to reach out to schools, educators, students, and parents alike to increase the awareness of these crucial 21st century skills. We aim to make the students realize their true potential and be prepared for the unknown, uncertain, yet ever evolving future. This program, devised in a contest mode, runs almost through the entire academic session, starting from the Independence Day and concluding on the Republic Day. Right from the selection of the 5 skills or topics, to the structure of the various stages of the contest, to creation of the evaluation criteria, the entire student journey, learning, and experience has been diligently designed by a team of experts. Once the student registers and enrolls into the program, they are exposed to enriching learning content, and the student definitely takes something back home with them. Now, to all our finalists, congratulations and wish you the very best. You have proven to be an IntelliGem, and that is what we celebrate. Every one of you is a gem. Now, without further ado, over to the host. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to once again welcome you to the grand finale of the sixth edition of TCS iON IntelliGem, an innovative national contest to unearth the gems of tomorrow. We are gathered here for the finale of Communication Skills category Senior Level Competition, brought to you by TCS iON in partnership with STEP from the Hindu Group. Let me begin by introducing our most esteemed panel of jury for the day. Ms. Sri Devi, a CELTA certified trainer, has over 14 years of experience in the ESL industry. She has trained professionals and students, making them effective, confident communicators. She has successfully conducted training programs for our corporate clients like BD India, Netcon, TVS Supply Chain, Hinduja Tech, Ford, and many other leading educational institutions. She has also created exceptional online educational content for our clients. She is a combination of professionalism and subject expertise and never fails to achieve the desired outcome. Ms. Smita Sundarajan is a training projects manager at STEP from the Hindu Group, a results-oriented professional with over a decade of diverse experience across airlines, customer care, administration, training, and preschool management. Possessing a track record of excellence, this seasoned individual brings together a unique blend of skills and achievements spanning across various sectors. Currently, she manages the delivery of English language teaching and learning content for STEP and is also involved in teacher training projects offered by STEP. Ms. Shailaja Ramesh is a content manager at STEP. An avid reader, her passion for English led her on a path which took her all the way after graduating with a master's degree from the Ethiraj College for Women to the National University of Singapore, where she pursued a doctoral degree in English literature. Her stint in Singapore also opened up the world of education and pedagogy for her. Having worked at Cambridge Assessment English, she brings a rich insight into the needs of English learners in India. And now for our most important guests, our finalists. They have successfully made it to the grand finale after proving their mettle in 3 challenging rounds. Please put your hands together to wish them luck for the grand finale. Welcome, Sakshin Ghosh from Delhi Public School, Kalinga, Cuttack.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Sakshin Ghosh, as you can.
Hi, Sakshin. Before you start, this is for all contestants. You can speak for up to 45 seconds. All right? You've got up to 45 seconds to a short introduction about yourselves.
Yes, ma'am. So, good evening, ma'am, and good evening, everyone. I'm Sakshin Ghosh. As you can see, I'm from DPS Kalinga, based in Cuttack, and I recently moved. And some of my hobbies, it's reading, watching movies, playing video games, and playing outside and playing basketball. And I look forward to this contest every year. And honestly, I'm just happy to be here. So that's me.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, Sakshin? Is that all?
Yes, ma'am.
Nikita Malia from Sri Kumaran Public School, Bangalore.
Nikita, can you introduce yourself in 45 seconds, please?
Thank you, ma'am, for this opportunity too. I'm Nikita, and I'm from Sri Kumaran Public School, of course. If I were to describe myself, I would use the words an avid reader, and I'm often involved in debates and competing events, even though I'm quite new at that. And I love expressing myself, be it through poetry, story writing, or essays. I'm always eager to learn about new cultures and things all around the globe. And learning is my way, and I love exploring new things. And I'm participating in TCS iON IntelliGem. It's also been a great experience, full of learning for me. So I'd like to thank you again once for that. And that is my description of myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikita.
Kirtan Kumar Varma Madiraju from Manchester International School, Coimbatore.
Hi, ma'am. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Kirtan Kumar Madiraju, and I'm from Manchester National School, Coimbatore, as you can see. My hobbies are drawing, painting, playing outside, playing video games, and singing. Also, I play chess too. My ambition is to be a singer when I grow up. So for that, I really need to communicate well. I have to like feel what I write into my lyrics. So I feel joining such competitions like IntelliGem can help my communication skills improve a lot. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much, Kirtan.
Janani Narayanan from PSBB Senior Secondary School, Kanchipuram.
Hi everyone, I'm Janani Narayanan. If I were to describe myself in a few words, I would say empathetic, passionate, and communicative. I am an aspiring Harikatha artist. I have given around 100 Harikatha performances and blessed to have received a few awards too. And the things that occupy my day generally are music, Sanskrit, Harikatha, and watching educational videos on YouTube on maths and science. I live in a non-nuclear family with my parents and 2 grandmothers who have taught me many intangible values. All my gurus have taught me one doctrine. It is not who you are that matters. It's how you are that matters at all instances of life. I strongly believe in this and I consciously build my life around this important value. This is me, Janani.
Thank you so much, Janani.
Mihir Apte from the Orchid School, Pune.
Hello everyone, my name is Mihir. I'm a student in the 9th grade. My hobbies include playing the piano and the violin. I also love to read. I'm a fan of the books of Salman Rushdie and authors like William Golding. I'd say that I'm a very passionate speaker. I'm very passionate about public speaking because I feel that it's a skill that is so important in the 21st century. And I think we're not taught it enough in school, and I would love to work on that in the future.
Thank you so much.
Meghna Vani Bukya Saishri from Shishu Griha Junior and Senior School, Bangalore.
Hey, hi everyone. So I'm Meghna Vani from Shishu Griha in Bangalore. And I find it really interesting that all of us have very similar interests, because I would say that my interests are also reading, drawing, music. I've been learning singing since I was 4. And I dabble in a lot of instruments like guitar, ukulele, and currently drums. And I would say that art is definitely the core of my personality. And I recently got into debating and public speaking. It's definitely a skill that I'm still working on. And I think that this category of TCS and IntelliGem is such a good way to develop that. And I find it really interesting. It's my first time doing this category as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meghna.
It's finally time to begin. Get ready for part 1, vlog. Our participants were asked to create an innovative 1-minute introductory video which they sent in earlier. Let's have a look at our first candidate's vlog. Sakshan Ghosh from Delhi Public School, Kalinga, Cuttack.
At 12, I'm into books, movies, video games, and basketball. Maths and English, yes, they're cool too. But guess what? I have this yearning to lead a life less ordinary, to be a psychotherapist. Empathy is my thing. Picture me as this mix of interests, fueled by learning, heading towards a world which is just exciting. I'm Sakshan Ghosh, traversing my way towards a goal where every page, frame, and bounce adds up to something special, in a vision of a world where nature and humanity dance together in a harmonious rhythm. I love reading and writing poems and stories because they offer unique perspectives and emotions which allow us to better comprehend, connect, and understand the intricacies and confusing experiences of our world.
That was a very interesting vlog. Thank you, Sakshan. Next we have Nikita Malia from Sri Kumaran Public School, Bangalore.
Greetings to everyone from a 12-year-old with an insatiable love for books and an eternal quest for new worlds and untold stories. For me, books have been like a gateway which has shaped my perspectives and expanded my horizons. Books have always been like a guide which has shaped my understanding even in the age of technology and innovation. I'm also enthralled by the worlds of quiz and debate, where curiosity meets eloquence and mysteries are unraveled. I, Nikita Manya, a positive and vibrant individual, strongly believe that effective communication, crafted with precision, can create connections which resonate long after the words are spoken. As an aspiring public speaker, I navigate the path of learning, where gratitude and contentment are anchors but not endpoints. I remain content but not complacent, and I'm always eager to ensure that my journey remains ever evolving and dynamic. Thank you.
That was such a beautiful presentation. Thank you, Nikita. Now we have Kirtan Kumar Varma Madiraju from Manchester International School, Coimbatore.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and my fellow participants. I'm Kirtan from Coimbatore, and I attend Manchester International School in the 8th grade. To learn a bit about me, you all must know that I have a strong interest in fantasy. This causes me to believe something that might seem strange or out of the ordinary. I believe that apart from our world, there is another world that is just as interesting as our own. Yes, it's the world of books. Reading is a fundamental part of my life, and I adore reading books of all genres, from the whimsical tales of Harry Potter to the mysterious novels of Sherlock Holmes. Apart from reading, I also play chess, tennis, and I draw. So before I go, I would like to give my heartwarming thanks to TCS and IntelliGem for giving me such a wonderful opportunity. I have been competing in all of these IntelliGem tournaments since I was in the 5th grade, and because of these tournaments, I have been able to inculcate and imbibe many such 21st century skills into me. So before I go, once again, thank you TCS and IntelliGem and all the best to my fellow participants. Thank you.
A beautiful insight into your life. Thank you, Kirtan. Now we have Janani Narayanan from PSBB Senior Secondary School, Kanchipuram.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. It is not who you are that matters, it is how you are that matters. This is a doctrine that all of my gurus have essentially instilled in me. I strongly believe in this and consciously build my life around this value. Hi, I'm Janani Narayanan. Glad to introduce myself here today. I am studying in 8th grade in Padma Seshadri Balavavan, Siriseri, Chennai. I was born in Singapore, lived briefly in Sydney, and raised in Siriseri, Chennai. I am fortunate to live in a non-nuclear family with my parents and 2 grandmothers who have taught me many intangible values. I am an aspiring Harikatha artist. Since the age of 6, I have been doing upanyasams on stories from Indian Puranas and sacred scriptures. I have given around 100 Harikatha performances and blessed to have received a few awards. When I perform, there is a magical and an instant connect between me and the audience, especially the senior citizens. 2 words that describe me are empathetic and communicative. My strengths are my positive thinking, hard work, integrity, sense of humor, and infectious enthusiasm. My weakness is lemon tea. My aspiration is to become a gynecologist, live up to my name, and a Harikatha artist. Although I have taken up this ancient art form as my prime forte, exploring 3D animation software, video editing, and coding are also some things that interest me. So I guess you can call me a hybrid model, a right blend of the ancient world and 21st century. I thrive on my emotional quotient and build on it continually. This is me, Janani. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you so much for that lovely vlog, Janani. Now we have Mihir Apte from the Orchid School, Pune.
Greetings and a warm welcome to all present here. My name is Mihir Apte and I am a student in the 9th grade at the Orchid School, Pune. From a very young age, I have been fascinated with the different forms of art, be it a few simple notes strung together by the bow of a violin or the carefully chosen words woven together by the hands of a master poet. My interest in Western classical music also led me to the piano and eventually the violin. After trying to master the violin via YouTube, much to my sister's frustration, I joined a class 2 years ago, and I'm happy to report that for the time being, my sister and I can coexist in the same house. While a future in music is not really on the table, I did master some recipes that I learned online. And let's just say a career as a chef hasn't been ruled out, because I feel that food is the common language of love everywhere. In the crucible of this national level competition, I am honored to share my thoughts, ideas and experiences with all of you.
Thank you, Mihir, for that beautiful vlog. Now we have Meghna Vani Bukya Sai Shri from Shishu Grihar, Junior and Senior School, Bangalore.
Hi everyone, I'm Meghna Vani. I'm in the 9th grade and I'm studying in Shishugriha School, Bangalore. If I had to describe myself in one word, it would be multifaceted. Growing up, I was an avid reader, which in turn made me an avid writer. I feel that the easiest way for me to convey my thoughts is with a pen or a keyboard. Another big part of me is music and art. I love finding new ways to improve my sketching, and I feel so accomplished when I get a beat right on the drums. Math is another one of my strong suits, which has helped me hone my logical thinking. And I personally believe that both music and math have made me the quick learner that I am today. I am so lucky to have supportive parents and encouraging teachers who give me every opportunity possible to show who I am to the world. Not that it doesn't keep me busy, but I believe that participating in something I'm passionate about is worth it. and I'm always looking forward to the next big event. Thank you.
That was a lovely presentation. Thank you, Meghna. I must say, all the introductions were quite innovative. Wonderfully done, participants. Let's move on to part 2, group discussion. You will have 10 minutes for this round. Before we reveal the topic, I would like to talk to you about something that is at the core of this round's values this year. The group discussions topics are aligned to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, laid out by the UN in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. These goals are an urgent call for action by all countries across the world. The topic for the group discussion will be revealed now, and here it is. The topic is aligned with Goal 10 of the SDGs, which is Reduced Inequalities. How do social media algorithms shape the information people consume across different countries, and what are the implications of this? The time limit will be 10 minutes.
Right, before we get started, participants, this is a group discussion. So you will all, we won't be prompting you. We won't be, calling out your name or anything. You'll be talking amongst yourselves and we will be observing you. So you will get to make statements. You might need to, understand what your peers are saying, agree, disagree, express your opinions creatively. All right. So your 10 minutes start now.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, I hope you're doing well. So when we, in the 21st century, as the teenagers of today, we talk a lot about social media and how much we use social media, whether it be platforms like Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, things like that. The content we consume very much shapes our opinion. And I think most of you would agree on that because, we read and we judge things. But I feel that there is a fundamental flaw because these algorithms are very geared to your specific geographical region. Like, say, a person in India might not receive content that is related to the Israel-Palestine war as much as someone in the Middle East. And I feel like that is an error because this is a problem and these kind of issues affect everyone on the planet. So I think this is fundamentally an inequality based on the region. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, Mihir, if I may, so what you said is completely correct, but it's usually the default recommendations because your algorithm, basically the algorithm is based on your specific interests. It just recommends first to you based on geographical region, and it's not necessarily just on international conflicts. Like the Israel-Palestine conflict, pretty much everybody has covered it, so that's not much of a problem. It's more with relation to national things. Like I read about, it was a long time ago, but I read about the fact that on Facebook there were certain ads which were supporting either the leftist side or the rightist side in the United States during election times because they were paid for and they were marketed based on the likings of the person who is reading through all of these articles and scrolling through Facebook, which is quite dangerous because then those companies hold the power to polarize you and polarize your opinion. And just a simple someone paying quite it's a small amount of money really, someone paying for a corporation, someone paying a small amount of money to basically make sure that the masses only get uh, uh, one kind of information or from one side. And the fact that these algorithms try to use watch time or base it off of your likes means that you're only ever going to get the perspective that you're looking for. And basically this is quite dangerous because, again, as I said, it polarizes the masses and people on one side and people on the other side. It's difficult. And with regards to international conflicts as well, protests and all are more likely to erupt because of this kind of herd mentality that happens, because everyone is consuming that same content with those same ideals and views and become essentially extremists.
Yes, I definitely agree with both of you. Social media has become more than just a source of entertainment. It influences our perspectives and views too. And as you said, most social media platforms, they only provide content that you're looking for their benefit. And you only get half of that picture which you're looking for just because you'll continue using that content, which benefits them, of course. And uh, that is one of the main implications of this. It does not provide a full picture of the problem, and people start making wrong judgments, and their actions are implications of this. But I also feel there are ways to combat it. I mean, all of us have agreed that this can be an issue, getting only a bit of the picture. So if we recognize our own biases, then we'll always be on the lookout. For example, if I receive a sensational news item on WhatsApp, instead of being so eager to send it to someone else, just because this content is something I agree with, instead, if I know that I'm biased to this type of content, I'll be careful enough to check all my facts before passing it on. So this is something I feel we could do.
Yeah, Nikita, and furthermore, see what you're talking about, and I agree that because we are people who are quite technology literate and information literate, and we know what to send and what not to send because see, in the topic is written across different countries, and these demographics. We have people, the elderly people, who will believe pretty much anything and everything that is circulated on these apps. So I've had my grandfather and my grandmother send me these videos on from Instagram or from YouTube, and they're quite disturbing sometimes, and they're factually incorrect. But see, these people, first of all, they don't understand. Most of the time, they're not understanding what's going on, and they simply tend to believe whoever is giving out this information because in their time, you could trust newspapers, you could trust TV news as well. But with the advent of fake news, the general demographic is going to have a harder time understanding not to circulate these fake news and these polarizing articles. So what you said, Nikita, is right, but I think we should take this from the perspective, from a larger perspective, essentially, from people who might not be this technology or information literate. There should be a process. There should be algorithms in place to prevent this exact thing from happening, where people, without thinking or even by thinking, but simply agreeing with what the article says, even though it's factually incorrect, they're just sending it to everyone, and this is kind of like a domino effect, right? One person sends it and it gets circulated and it eventually gets accepted as true. So
I definitely agree. This does for. Sorry, Janani, please go on.
I second Sakshin. I agree that whatever we see, we think it's from a common source and we think that it is trustworthy and it shapes our thoughts and belief. What we do not see is that it's a biased view of one particular person. It's a view. It is not a fact. It's a view. It may be a view sometimes. It's a view. It is not a fact. It's a view. It may be a view sometimes. So it is a person's perspective. So we may have to make sure that we do not judge a situation completely based on one article prepared on one social media platform because it may correspond to one person's thoughts and we may not hear the other half of the story and we may not get a full picture of the view. I agree with all of you. It's true. I agree, Jan. Yeah. When I feel differential, we need to recognize the difference between a fact and an opinion. Oh, sorry, please go on. Yeah, I agree with all of you actually. I believe as well that many people are not giving the full picture and it's based on different countries what info is being shared among us. Like Mihir said, if like info about the Israel Hamas wars, like you won't get a much info about the same conflict if you're in the Middle East compared to if you're in India or somewhere else. But apart from not giving enough info, I feel they're also giving misinformation. Well, nowadays many social media platforms are practicing the concept of giving misinformation. And like Sakshin Ghosh said, many old people are falling into traps of this. One time, my grandfather actually sent me an article saying that UNESCO declared that India's national anthem was in fact the greatest one. So I feel many such articles which are spreading misinformation is quite very wrong. Yeah, there was also a WhatsApp forward recently that stated that some virus's blood was mixed into some soft drinks, and then it got confirmed that the news was fake. Misinformation being circulated through platforms like this is actually a major hazard.
So we've agreed so far that this misinformation and this idea of an echo bubble, that you only hear opinions similar to yours, so that you're more likely to interact with them and generate revenue via ads for these social media platforms. We've all agreed on these things, right? But I want to hear from you how your geographical location affects this. Like, do you think the opinions that are echoed in your personal bubble are very dependent on where you live, or more so your political alignment?
Yeah, so one second. I wanted to mention something about this. I really like the point that Sakshan brought up about how certain people control the algorithms that are the ones that are circulated among many people. And I believe that the people who control those algorithms, their mindset may, or their ability to control that algorithm will differ from country to country. And I think that's especially based on how technologically advanced that country itself is. Like, for example, if social media isn't that big of a usage in a certain country, then maybe the control over social media would be less in that country. And I think that is how the algorithm changes from country to country.
Yeah, but I don't really yeah, the same as Meghna said. But one more thing. So based on let's say we usually get most of our info from news channels or newspapers. So let's take the conflict, the Russia-Ukraine war. Okay, let's say you're in Russia. So most media channels that you listen to, they're gonna give their opinion about the conflict. But if you're in Ukraine, the social media channels are probably gonna give their different opinion about the conflict. So due to this differentiation in opinions, you might understand the news a little differently. So this might cause variations within the information that people receive from different places.
But that keeper will also the fact that certain
I feel that it's not a matter of your geographical location, but matter of what you search for. You get what you search for, and you get more of it. Right. Social media platforms recommend more.
Your time's up.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very insightful comments from our young participants here. After that thought-provoking session, we move on to part 3. A picture speaks 1,000 words. Part 3. A picture speaks 1,000 words. Each participant will be shown 3 unconnected pictures. Using these, you will have to create a story. You will have 1 minute to think and 3 minutes to tell the story. Any questions? Wonderful. Let's begin. Sakshan, here are your pictures.
Sakshan, your 1 minute is up. Are you ready with your story?
Yes, ma'am.
You can start now.
I went on a journey through the woods when I stumbled on a tiny village. There were many people going around, but there was this mysterious doorway. But people were warning me not to enter it, saying that anyone who had gone through it had never come back. I decided to disregard what they said and walk through it regardless. And I walked through it, only to find myself in the middle of the desert. I could see oases on the horizon, but I knew that they weren't real, just a mirage caused by my imagination. However, I walked on. I had watched many Bear Grylls videos before, so I knew exactly what in the situation, or so I thought. I walked and walked and walked. I didn't find a drop of water. I met another traveler. He looked old with white hair. I talked to him. He told me that he had been in this sand world for 60 years. He had been walking for days. I told him that I had just entered, and he came to a horrifying realization. He had been walking in circles for the whole time. He told me that there was, or it was rumored between the other travelers, that there was a village or a city at the end of whatever hell they were in. I took his advice and walked on and survived in this hellish landscape for years. One day, I found the city. I walked. It was empty, as if it was built for anyone who braved the journey. I saw hundreds of kilograms of food and liters of water and all of these amazing facilities. I had two options. Either I could make the perilous journey back to inform the people who had been lost on the way and the people of the village that there was a place of respite across this landscape. Or I could stay here and live out the rest of my days in solitude, surrounded with technology and food, but no one to talk to or to interact with. I pondered. I tried to make the journey back, but eventually I failed. I gave up, made a campfire, I sat down, and I simply wrote. That's what you're hearing right now. That was my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Sachin.
That was a very interesting story. Thank you, Sakshan. Now, Nikita, here are your pictures.
Nikita, your thinking time starts now. Nikita, your 1 minute is up. You can start your story now.
Yes, ma'am. Patty was the daughter of rich parents, and it was her birthday. The most lavish, lovely presents lay before her: a teddy bear wearing fur billows and lovely clothes, a lovely brooch, lots of ribbons in her favorite color, blue. But Patty was grateful, of course. But was she happy? She wasn't sure. She tried explaining dozens of times to her parents that she didn't require such rich and costly gifts. She just wanted to be like the other kids in her class who weren't from such rich backgrounds. Just enjoy the same things that they did, the simple joys that they seemed to take a lot of pleasure in. But it never worked. Her parents loved buying her these things, and they never understood the simple joy of accompanying her to a garden or a movie, or just having some quality time with her by reading her a book. But Patty was excited that her Aunt Lucy was coming. Aunt Lucy was not so rich as her parents, and she had come to that stature a lot. She had worked very hard to come to what she was doing right now in her life, and she had always had interesting stories to tell, new facts about the world to narrate to Patty, and Patty would listen enthralled. And so Aunt Lucy came. After their usual hugs and then exchanging stories of what had happened since the last time they had met, they decided to go nearby to a park. On the way, Patty was so happy at being with a real friend, a person she could share her thoughts, her feelings with. For Aunt Lucy was more like an elder sister to her than her aunt. Finally, they arrived at the park. Patty had never known such joy. She looked around, breathed in the fresh air, and then she took a few of the dandelions, some of her favorite flowers, and she blew one away. It was like a wisp, a dream, just like her birthday had seemed to be. It was beautiful, and Patty decided that it had been her best birthday ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikita.
Great story, Nikita. Thank you. Now we have Kirtan. Here are your pictures.
Ethan, your thinking time starts now. Ethan, your 1 minute is up. You can start your story now.
Once upon a time, in the middle of a forest, there lived a dog and a giraffe. The giraffe used to go around the forest boasting about how tall it was and how it could pick anything off of trees, while the dog used to boast about how fast it was and how it could catch anything without the help of anyone. So one day, the dog and the giraffe met together. They started bickering. The giraffe said, I am much taller than you. Bet I could get anything much before you. I bet I'm much better than you. While the dog said to the giraffe, I'm much faster than you. No way you could keep up with me. Even if you were closer to something, I could just outspeed you and catch the object. So then, a wise turtle came and saw them bickering. The turtle went up to them and said, well, if you both bicker so much, then there's no point in fighting on who's the best. Why don't you both have a race? And as soon as the turtle said this, he released a jar. He opened the jar, and from the jar, a beautiful monarch butterfly came out of the jar. The dog and the giraffe saw this and thought, wow, what a beautiful butterfly. I must have it. The turtle then said, that is the competition that you guys have today. You must catch the butterfly. Let's see who catches it first. So then the turtle starts. On your mark, get set, go. And the dog and giraffe race to catch the butterfly. They run and they run. Then suddenly, the butterfly soars high onto a tree. Now the dog can't get it, obviously, because the dog isn't tall enough and can't climb the tree. Then the giraffe started laughing. Oh, look how small you are, you little puppy. Then with its long neck, the giraffe reached for the butterfly. But before the giraffe could grab the butterfly flew away. The giraffe thought, oh man, well, I'll get another opportunity. Then they started racing again to get the butterfly. Then suddenly, the butterfly hid inside a small hole deep underneath the ground. Then the dog said, ha, giraffe, you're too tall. I bet you couldn't even reach in the hole. Then the dog, after saying this, started digging in the hole to try and get the butterfly. Then the butterfly flew out of the hole, yet evading the dog's mouth, and flew into the high sky again. Then they both started racing again. Finally, they realized they could not attempt this alone, so they both hatched a plan. When the butterfly went away from them, the butterfly had thought, phew, these creeps stopped chasing me, so decided to rest near a lake. Suddenly, the dog was on top of the giraffe's neck. The neck launched the dog away from the giraffe. The dog he soared into the sky, and he landed on top of the butterfly. He caught the butterfly with its mouth. Finally, the dog and the giraffe were so happy. They both collaborated and caught the butterfly. Then the turtle came up to them and then said, I have tested you both to see if you would work together. You both have been bickering non-stop, and I feel if this bickering Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Time's up.
That was very, very beautiful. Now we have Janani. Here are your pictures.
Janani, your thinking time starts now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Janani, your 1 minute is up. You can start your story now.
The story unfolds with three characters, Sheila, Dhana, and Srishti. They were childhood friends, they were so close. And when they grew up, they promised to stay in touch after 12th grade. And when summer holidays arrived, they stay in touch. And since then, no matter what happened in their lives, they would update each other about it, hang out regularly in a restaurant. They used to be together and they remained best friends. They would even go on trips sometimes. They went on a trip once to their favorite English teacher's house because they remember her birthday. Her birthday was approaching. Sheena told Dhana, Dhana, do you remember our English teacher, Mrs. Johnson? Do you remember how much of a good perspective she gave us, how much lovely she was, and with how much care and love she treated us? Do you remember all that? Yes, I do, replied Srishti too. So they were planning on a gift to buy to this favorite English teacher of theirs and visit her house. They figured, okay, she lives in a solitary house in the middle of a beautiful garden, in an individual house. She lives with her husband too. So we need to get a gift that she really values, they thought. Well, Srishti was an amazing cook. So she suggested, okay, let's bring her some homemade snacks. Probably she would love it. And when the flavor melts into her mouth, she would think of us and the times she had with us. And Dhana wasn't that satisfied with this idea. She was a tailor. She suggested that they would buy a beautiful clothing piece to her teacher. And then the third turned to both of them and said, Sheila turned to both of them and said, no, this is not good. Let's buy a decoration that she could hang on the wall of her house. Because whenever she would look at it, it would be permanently in her house, right? So whenever she would look at it, she would get reminded of us. It will be on her wall and she would daily look at it. Unlike clothes that can wear out or food that can be finished completely. So let's bring a photograph. They were arguing quite some time and then they decided to go with an option that none of them was satisfied about. They decided to buy some flowers for the teacher. So they bought some flowers in a store nearby, a bouquet of flowers, and headed to the teacher's house in a car. They went to her house and they greeted her with a pleasant smile, and her teacher was surprised to see them come inside. She welcomed all of them and she gave them some tea. She told everyone, all the three of them, that gardening was her passion. None of them listened to it.
Thank you, Janani. Your time's up.
Great story, Janani. Mihir, here are your pictures.
Mihir, your thinking time starts now. Your time's up. You can start your story now.
In a picturesque town nestled amidst rolling hills, there was a young boy named Oliver. Oliver had a passion for aviation. He had a vivid imagination. His room was adorned with posters of airplanes, and he spent hours sketching his dream aircraft on the sheets of paper that his parents gave him. One sunny afternoon, Oliver's curiosity led him to the outskirts of the town, where he saw a dilapidated old house where a retired pilot named Captain Harrison resided. The captain's house was filled with memorabilia from his flying days, including a model airplane collection and many other things, such as a captain's hat and, um, and the keys for his old aircraft. One day, as Oliver marveled at these models, Captain Harrison entered the room. His eyes twinkled with nostalgia as he shared the tales of his adventures in the sky. This was paradise for Oliver. He listened wide eyed, absorbed every detail of the thrilling stories, and he decided to sketch a plane based on the ones that Captain Harrison had flown. He worked diligently. Every afternoon at his own house, he wanted to bring his creation to life, and even if only in miniature form. Determined, he sought the help of Mrs. Thompson, the town's skilled tailor, who is known for her magical ability to turn fabric into works of art. You see, she would sew the most beautiful sculptures out of nothing but fabric. Finally, the day arrived when the fabric plane was complete. Oliver marveled at the beautiful plane before him. There's a certain beauty in the elegance and perfection of the sculpture of the plane. The tailor's tools, Mrs. Thompson's tools, which she had now put aside, served as a silent witness to the birth of his extraordinary creation. The fabric plane was given by Oliver to Captain Harrison, and he hung it as the crowning jewel of his living room. It was suspended in midair by invisible threads and captured the imagination of everyone who laid their eyes on it. It became a famous attraction in the town and brought many visitors to Captain Harrison's house. His house was renovated from a dilapidated old one to a beautiful large mansion. The town celebrated this collaboration of the young dreamer Oliver, the experienced pilot Captain Harrison, and the skilled tailor Mrs. Thompson. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a very thought provoking story. Thank you, Mihir. Finally, Meghna, here are your pictures.
So, Meghna, your thinking time starts now. Meghna, your minute is up. You can start your story.
I was never really a big fan of going out and interacting with people. I was into music, I was into creating, and I enjoyed designing things on my own. I liked coming up with completely new ideas for beats such as electronic dance music, and I had a wide variety of equipment that in the comfort of my own home. I never felt the need to leave or even talk to other people to collaborate. I found that my skill in my area of expertise was enough for me. However, my family was insistent that I had to find ways to interact and to interact and care for other people and other things because I lived completely alone and I enjoyed it. I preferred being, I preferred, uh, I preferred having time to myself to think and reflect and find new ideas for new creations. However, my family was insistent, and I realized that it might benefit me if I gave it a shot. I thought it was my biggest nightmare to have a pet. I definitely would not have preferred to have a roommate. A pet was the next favorable option. However, taking care of a living animal which can't communicate with you isn't as easy as it might seem. I ended up choosing to have some potted plants in my house because I feel that was the easiest thing to take care of other than a rock. So I started researching ways to take care of specific potted plants. I found that the effect that lights have on plants can be really drastic. And I realized that I'd never tried using my equipment to alter the lights in my house. I thought if that could help me take care of my plants, well, then that would take a huge chunk of my time off my plate. So I researched and I experimented with various colors of lights, various brightness, and
Thank
I
you,
made
Meghna, for your time.
A great story. Thank you, Meghna. I think that this session jogged all of our imaginative capabilities. Thank you, participants. Are you ready for the final round? Let's begin. Part 4, Block and Tackle. This round will test your debating capabilities even further. Participants will be invited forward one by one. As they speak, the judges will alternate between the commands of block and tackle. You will need to deliver 4 arguments when the judge says tackle and deliver against arguments when the judge says block. The topic was already shared with you and will be shown on screen as you speak. Sakshan, your topic was schools should promote diversity in reading materials.
Sakshan, you can start with block.
So, having too much diversity in reading materials can cause curriculum overload, leaving less time for core subjects, essentially STEM subjects. It can cause problems with time management because, see, with the introduction of AIL in NEP, you know that it can be quite taxing. Coming home and doing all of your homework, maths, science, English, SSC, and also having to do an AIL, especially if it's a group activity where you have to collaborate with everyone, it takes up a lot of time. And since all of this diversity in reading materials requires people to get new books or read from different authors, it can cause a problem where there are certain places with a lack of resources. See, I'm going to talk about 2 different cities, Gurgaon and Ladakh. Gurgaon is a metro city with it's a quite developed area, but Ladakh is at a high elevation. Yes, ma'am. So reading diversity in reading materials also allows you to read about issues from different perspectives from around the world, and reading from only one perspective, which would be that without the diversity, would make us close-minded and make us reject other opinions as false, thinking that the perspective that we have read about is the only correct perspective. It also encourages empathy because we feel because we understand other people and basically have ourselves in their shoes. So a lot of the diversity in reading materials is also in diversity of opinion, and this can cause clashes in the class. For example, in our books, we have the Aryan migration theory, where the Aryans came from the European steppes into India. But a lot of people are lobbying for that same theory to be changed into the out of India theory, where they were always in India. 2 students have different opinions. So These diversity in reading materials can also mirror real world diversity, making us feel represented. This can be explained through the mirror window analogy, where the mirror is where we feel our own culture reflected, and a window is where we see through it and see into other diverse cultures. So, an example of a mirror in modern literature would be Sudha Murthy for me, an Indian boy, and I can see my Indian culture being reflected, and she kind of brings that. So, another thing is that too much diversity can hinder learning because, of course, we all know schools are there most of the time to make us perform well in standardized tests. And while we are reading about all of these other diverse authors and opinions, it can get our focus away from STEM, which essentially makes us perform worse in standardized tests. And these tests are what get us into great universities like IIT or Harvard or Stanford. See, a diversity in perspective from around the world also means a diversity in opinions, and it causes us to make our own opinion. It's the same reason why we read multiple newspapers. We don't just believe the word of one newspaper to be what we feel. We read multiple, and we make our own assessment, our own opinion. It also
Thank you,
promotes-
Sakshin.
Thank you, ma'am.
That was a very interesting session. Thank you, Sakshin. Now we have our second candidate, Nikita. Your topic was students should be required to complete community service.
Nikita, let's start block.
Yes, ma'am. Well, let me begin with an example. When youth community services were introduced in the UK, only 5% of the youth wished to join, and majority considered community service to be a rewardless and thankless job without any interest in it. Mandatory community service may add to the academic workload, potentially overwhelming students, especially nowadays, where students are already juggling academics, extracurricular activities. On the other hand, in the UK itself, children who joined social services in 2018 to help senior citizens mainly, they participated out of their own will during the 2020 pandemic to help senior citizens again to get to isolation centers and proper care for COVID-19. Such community services develop a kind nature and a sense of civic responsibility which remains with the student throughout their life. Also, on the flip side, many people do feel that mandatory service could undermine the essence of volunteerism by making it a compulsory activity rather than driven by personal passion or commitment. And also, it is hard to sustain it because most students. Ma'am, I was going with the block itself, as it is hard to sustain these types of community service as children face challenges due to academic schedules and other activities too. Mandatory service may also inadvertently favor students from more privileged backgrounds who have better access to opportunities, and this may lead to disparities between students. Well, I'd like to illustrate this with an example that how community service can be beneficial. A Mumbai-based student initiative called as the Green Warriors educated over 3,000 students on environmental conservation and removed tons of waste from beaches. And this shows how students can make a mark in the arena of community service too. Also, it promotes community engagement from a young age and provides a platform for practical learning where students are able to apply the classroom knowledge. Well, on the other hand, many people are concerned that making community services mandatory results in only superficial engagement, as students may just wish to fulfill requirements without any genuine commitment, compassion, or the understanding of the issue. And this may lead to feelings of disengagement and resentment. Also, making community service mandatory for students may contribute to increased. Well, contrarily, many people feel that community service promotes community engagement from a young age, and it allows.
Your time's up.
That was very thought-provoking. Thank you, Nikita. Now we have Kirtan. Your topic was social media should be integrated into classroom learning.
So, Ketan, let's start with tackle.
First off, social media is a big educational tool. If you ask any student in the 21st century nowadays, you can ask them, what is Facebook, what is Twitter, what is X? The students are going to answer very nicely. They know a lot about social media. So teachers can use this knowledge for making the classes more interesting. Because with social media, instructors can foster collaboration and discussion, create meaningful dialogue, exchange ideas, and boost student interaction. Second, social media enhances student engagement. So social media is a very effective way for student engagement. Because you see, if you ask a student whether they'd like to communicate in the class or on block. So in the class, social media is very good, yes. But many websites or many platforms which classes uses, such as Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter, have lots of unwanted content. This content distracts students. For example, you ask most students if they would rather study or watch YouTube videos. They probably go for YouTube videos. Yes. So yeah, like I said, social media is a very effective way for student engagement. So you ask a student, would they rather raise their hand and answer in class or give opinions in online classes because they don't have to face other people? They'd probably go with online methods because that way they don't have to feel as shy. And because of better engagement, even shy kids can give good responses. This way, more proper responses can come from lots of students. Yes. So yeah, like I said, many distractions are caused due to social media when it comes to education and inside classroom learning. So because of these distractions, teachers have to supervise classrooms heavily, which might cause lots of disinterest among students. Second, social media into classroom learning might cause lots of cyberbullying. Social media is useful, but also has lots of bullies. In a study about cyberbullying in Indiana State University, yes. Social media is a very good way to communicate among students and teachers. In classrooms, students are often very uncomfortable to talk with their own teachers. But with Facebook and X going on very nicely, students can talk more freely. They can express their opinions without having to be judged by other people. It's also easier to track tasks that are given by the teachers, and these teachers can also track their students more easily. Like I was saying, in a study about cyberbullying in the Indiana State University, researchers found that almost 22% of college students admit to being harassed online. Of this group, 25% report they were bullied through a social networking site. So social media includes lots of cyberbullying. Social media also discourages face-to-face communication in real time. So less real-time socialization. Yes. So social media in classroom learning can benefit students when it comes to employment. So when you teach students about social media and stuff, you also get to introduce them to LinkedIn.
Thank you, Kirtan. Your time's up.
Yes, ma'am.
That was a very insightful session. Thank you so much. Now we have Janani. Your topic was access to free internet should be a basic human right.
Janani, let's start with arguments for tackle.
All right, so access to free internet should be a basic human right. Internet access is not a luxury anymore, especially not after the COVID-19 pandemic. It is slowly evolving into a basic human need because we use technology, we use internet for many things, right? We use it. So let's take a deep dive into how and find out how many rights can be protected by way of internet usage. The internet could be a key to protect other basic human rights such as freedom of speech, expression, assembly, right to equality, right against exploitation, and so on. It is a way in which we can voice out our thoughts and opinions. And if it helps, if this internet is such an enabler and it protects so many other rights, then why can't this enabler be a basic human need itself? But access to free internet should be a basic human right. Is internet even a basic human need, like clothing or food or shelter or water that we need for survival? Technology is something that has been developed in the recent past, right? How many years has humanity survived without internet? So it is not a basic human need. We cannot call it a basic human need. Probably coronavirus and the pandemic has made this appear indispensable. But internet is not a basic human need. So access to claim it is not a basic human right. And right. Sorry? Tackle. Having said all that, we cannot agree that this internet has contributed to many sustainable development goals. Let's take goal 4, quality education, for instance. With internet access, students can access a lot of learning material that can support their school. And life moved online during the COVID pandemic, and we had online classes. Work could continue. It helps build it contributes to many other sustainable development goals, such as the quality education, decent work and economic growth, reduced inequalities, and partnership for goals. Having said all that, we can all agree that access to free internet is not a thing. Nothing comes for free. Everything comes for a price. And when in this context, when we are talking about freedom from the price or cost, we are talking about freedom from the fee that we have to pay for the internet. This is not happening. And imagine how much of a debt the nations would be, and if they started contributing to this, if they started making sure everyone gets free internet. It is not possible. It is too ambitious. But we say that it's too ambitious. Still, it is proven that it's not that unaffordable. It is affordable. Dr. Reglitz, lecturer in global ethics at the University of Birmingham, has published his journal of applied philosophy that internet usage should be a moral human right. And this is already in action.
Your time's up.
Thank you so much.
That was a great session. Thank you, Janani. Now we have Mihir. Your topic was human cloning is an ethical breakthrough.
Mihir, let's start with arguments for tackle.
All right, thank you. Human cloning refers to the creation of a genetically identical copy of a human being. There are two main types of human cloning, one reproductive cloning and the therapeutic cloning. Reproductive cloning is where you completely produce two identical organisms, and the other is therapeutic cloning, which is where you clone an organism's embryo to extract stem cells to treat certain diseases. Now, when we talk about these, when it comes to medical advancements, the most favored form of human cloning is therapeutic cloning. It involves extracting these stem cells from the embryo cloned from a given individual, and studying these cloned cells or tissues could lead to breakthroughs in understanding or treating diseases. Having said that, there are high failure rates to cloning. Cloning attempts always have high failure rates, even if individuals are born, they often suffer from disabilities, and due to abnormal development, for their whole life, they may suffer, and some of them may even have premature deaths. Failed or abnormal cloned humans will endure many hardships and unimaginable pain in their life, and will be burdensome on society as they will not contribute to societal development. In addition to this, human dignity comes into question. If by simply acquiring a human being's genetic data, all right. When we talk about medical advancements, of course, we have to consider things like cancer, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, which are very reliant on the genetic makeup of an individual. The cloned cells could be used for drug testing, where personalized medicine could be advanced by testing drugs on cells which have a very specific genetic profile, which can boost the scope and effectiveness of treatments for conditions such as cancer and other genetics-related diseases. There's also regenerative medicine, which involves growing replacement organs or tissues. All right. So if by simply acquiring a human being's genetic data, it is possible to create a biologically exact replica of them, the rights of individuals to make their own choices when it comes to reproduction, and cloning is fundamentally a form of reproduction, these rights to make their choices are very well being violated. There's also the potential for exploitation when it comes to clones. Clones could be created for specific purposes or traits, which could lead to a new era of eugenics, as those individuals with desirable characteristics could be made to reproduce even faster. Could be exploited, yes. So as I was saying about regenerative medicine, Growing replacement organs or tissues using therapeutic cloning, that is extracting stem cells from a cloned embryo, and using a patient's own stem cells could offer new options for organ transplants and treatments in general, as the cloned organs are less likely to be rejected by the patient, who also happens to be the donor. There is also infertility treatment, which which is a form where cloning may be useful. It offers a way for individuals or couples having.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You had really interesting points. Thank you, Mihir. Our final candidate for the senior round, Meghna. Your topic was celebrities should use their platforms to advocate for social and political issues.
Meghna, let's start with arguments for block.
All right. So one of the main reasons that celebrities shouldn't use their platforms to address issues like social and political ones is because of their huge following. You might think that this is a good thing. However, these people who are fans of these celebrities are often so enamored by them that they idolize them. They think that this person is so incredible that anything that they say or do is right and is true. However, celebrities are still people with their own opinions. And when those opinions become heartfelt, they can become biases. And when the entire point of addressing an issue is to speak complete. Okay. On the complete flip side of the same coin, this large following can help celebrities spread awareness about important issues. As I said, fans idolize these celebrities. So it's easy to tell them and it's easy to make them believe when something is right or wrong. For example, during the COVID lockdown, many celebrities use their influence to tell fans that, okay, for example, I have taken the COVID-19 vaccination and you should too. I am social distancing, you should too. And these people think there's like a switch that flips in their brain where they realize that, okay, these people are such amazing individuals that I respect so dearly. Yeah. Okay, social and political issues can sometimes also be very sensitive to certain people or groups. And celebrities are like, it's their responsibility to tread lightly around these topics, right? So if in any situation they say something, even any small thing that rouses controversy, that can create so much turmoil, whether it's online or offline, regardless of their platform. And that can create riots among their fans. It can also lose them their following. And don't get me started on cancel culture, where yeah. So another reason that celebrities should be allowed to address issues is that regardless of their fame, they're still citizens of the country that they belong to, as well as global citizens. So people are always encouraged to speak out about their own opinions about issues. So regardless of how many people are listening to them, they should have the right to yeah. So as I was saying about how fans will blindly believe any information that is said by celebrities, regardless of whether it's biased or not, because they don't sit and fact check all of these things. They immediately believe whatever celebrities say. And when these fans have friends who are fans of that same celebrity, they tell them that, hey, this person said this.
Meghna, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
I really enjoyed hearing that. Thank you, Meghna. That was quite spectacular. Please put your hands together for our wonderful participants. Congratulations to all our finalists. Now, we have a little surprise in store for you. We now come to the surprise round of the TCS iON IntelliGem Communication Skills Grand Finale. We have a few impromptu questions for the candidates, and here they are.
So, candidates, I'll be asking the question. Let's start with Janani. We're not going to go in order. That's the surprise. So,
okay.
Right? Janani, could you let us know why you joined this competition?
This competition has taught me many things. I was able to assess myself and see where I stand. And this was a great opportunities, and I learned a lot, especially about the sustainable development goals, which I would not have studied about otherwise. So this was a great learning opportunity. I'm glad to be a part of this competition. It's an honor.
Thank you, Janani. Sakshan, you're next.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Sakshan, you've been with us for a few years now. So
Yes, ma'am.
you've been through the several rounds for several years.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
my question to you is, what is your biggest takeaway over these years in the competition?
My biggest takeaway. Well, honestly, my biggest takeaway is that one should, first of all, I've won once as well. And my biggest takeaway is that regardless of whoever wins, it's always, I've realized this, that everyone is here is equally skilled. And it's obviously your performance on the day of the grand finale, but everyone here is as intelligent and speaks as well as me. And it's simply by, my particular performance on that day. So I've taken away that basically to not be arrogant when I'm addressing these people, and I should treat them as my equals. And because, see, the first time that I was competing, I was the youngest in the group, and this time also I'm the youngest in the group. And it's really great to see all of these people with all of their unique ideals and all of the unique ideals and ideas, of course. And I get to know that there are these people also in the rest of India, and I get to know that there are people like me. So my biggest takeaway is that everyone who has come here and who has participated is equal in their skill and in their footing.
Thank you. Mihir, if there was, what is your dream career?
Thank you for your question. I can come across as a very arts inclined person. I play two instruments, and I'm very passionate about the arts. But all the same, I feel that science draws to me the most. I'm very inclined towards physics and chemistry. So I'd like to become a researcher in those fields, perhaps work on quantum computing, because I feel that's the way forward for computer science. But this is all the world will push me to something else, but I hope not.
Thank you, Mihir. Nikita, if there's one food to eat for the rest of your life, just one, what would it be?
Ma'am, of course, I'm greatly tempted to choose something that comes from a hotel like pasta, spaghetti, pizza, anything. The options are numerous and my mouth waters when I think of them. But for the rest of my life, maybe not. I feel I am a person who does occasionally binge on food from outside, but at the end of the day, my heart is always in the home food, which my mother cooks. And some tasty sambar rice is what I choose to eat for the rest of my life. As really, the options are numerous, but home food is where my heart is. And that is one of the most classic examples that I can think of. Also, my mother's sambar truly deserves some credit. So I'll go ahead with that choice.
We're missing out on the sambar.
I'm sure I'll gain some credit points to my mom for mentioning that right over here. So, yeah.
Thank you. Keetan?
Yes, ma'am.
So you made the video, the vlog, right, which is submitted yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
So could you share your experience creating the video?
First off, I feel I'm very good at communicating. But when it comes to going and actually talking with other people, I feel a lot of stress. As in, even if it's just making a simple video, I have that kind of stage fear. Even if there's no one in front of me except a camera and one of my parents filming me, I still feel that fear. But so at first I felt that fear. What if I mess up? I have to take so many retakes. Oh my God, what if the judges don't like my video? I'm so scared. But then I realized I just have to be myself. I have to tell the words truly through my heart. And then that's how I know that the judges will definitely like my video. So at first, with the thought of fear in my mind, I had a lot of retakes. Like at one point, I used to have a very good flow, but then I'd stumble at some word and I'd lose my concentration completely. But as I was taking those retakes, I realized I just have to pour out my heart into the video. And that's what I did in the final take, which led me to make such a good video. That was my experience. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks, Kirtan. And finally, Meghna. So you've been through 4 rounds, right? You've cleared several rounds with the competition. So what was your journey? Could you explain your journey from writing the test to having a speaking exam and a writing exam and clearing all of that and coming here?
Yeah. So I feel like I've familiarized myself with the format of each round because I have done this a couple of times before from 6th grade. So the first round was, well, I just sat down and decided to just attempt it completely, just based on what I like, without any external preparation. Only for the interview round did I sit and go through all of the preparatory material that was given. And I went through the website and I went through all the communication skills because this was a completely new category to me. And I never would have thought that I would make it even to the pre-finals, let alone to the finals. But I actually think that this is such an interesting category. I mean, I don't know about the other ones, but I really like how the rounds, like what you decided the rounds to be in the finals. And I think that that was a great way to showcase the communication skills actually. And I wouldn't say that I'm that great of a communicator, but I believe that this has definitely taught me, as Sakshan was saying, about how so many people are there who are so talented when it comes to communicating, and there's so much that I can learn from them. And yeah, that's basically.
Thank you, Meghna. So thank you so much, participants. On to you, MC.
At this point, I request the judges to take a moment to address the finalists and share their valuable feedback with them.
Right, now we'll go back in the order in which the participants appeared. So we'll start with Sakshan. Ms. Sridevi, she'll be delivering your feedback, right?
So, Sakshan, Sridevi here.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening. Okay, I can see you now. Okay, so I really enjoyed listening to you. I think you communicate very well. So I was impressed with your vocabulary. It's quite good. Do you read a lot?
Yes, ma'am, I do read a lot.
You should keep that up because it's excellent. I loved your vocabulary.
Thank you, ma'am.
And yeah, the flow of your ideas is very smooth, very coherent. So that is another plus point that you have.
Yes, ma'am.
And very insightful, thoughts. So that's quite deep. So that's another strength that you have. And see, you strengthen your arguments with very good examples. So yeah. So I think you've mastered the art of doing all that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. The only thing I would ask you to work on is your voice modulation. Maybe you can try that, vary your pitch and the tone and the rate of your speech according to, what you're presenting. Maybe that's the only thing you can work on. Otherwise, I think you've done a great job.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, all the best. Yes, Sachin. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Nikita? Yes. Your feedback will be delivered by Ms. Smita. Hi, Nikita.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. Your communication skills are excellent. You had a good flow. Whatever thoughts you had put it in a well-structured manner, and you played the mom card well, associating a personal association. Any conversation can bring you any speech. So that was excellent. The one thing I would like to suggest is when you're given a spontaneous topic and when you're asked to prepare, it's better to time it properly so you complete the process. That could be a crucial point since you had a lot of thoughts, you had a lot of things which you could have done, but timing of it is pretty crucial. So just work on that, and otherwise your other facts, giving examples for each topic was truly amazing. All the best, Nikki.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll definitely work on what you recommended. Thank you once again.
Ethan, hi.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. So it was a great round. I have to commend you on your great vocabulary, amazing wide range. We noticed it. You also are amazing with impromptu sessions because you didn't hesitate for a beat. So you are good with unprepared speech and such. So congratulations on that. That's a very difficult quality and a feat to work with, and it'll carry you through life, right? And your confidence, unlike what you mentioned in the making of the video, none of the hesitation, none of that, ever came through, and you did an amazing job.
Thank you, ma'am.
A couple of things, you could look at would be, you can learn to interrupt politely. For instance, during the group discussion, so you could say, if I may, or if you could just interject gently to get into, when there's a heated conversation, because that's the only way you'd be able to get your point across.
Yes, ma'am.
Other thing would be, when you're narrating a story, or when there's some kind of prepared speech along the speech, think of it in parts and how those parts would flow from one to the next. So, people need to understand what you're saying. So you might say, use words like first, next, later on, consequently, or subsequently, words like that, to kind of link your ideas and paragraphs ultimately. All right? But otherwise,
yes, ma'am.
All the best to you, Ethan.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you. Janani, Ms. Sridevi will be delivering your feedback.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening, Janani. So, I've actually watched your videos on YouTube. So, yeah. So, I think when you speak, there's a lot of enthusiasm and there's a lot of passion in your voice. Okay, so that is a great strength that you have, and it sounds very genuine, right? I've noticed it earlier too in your YouTube videos. Okay, so that's a great quality for a public speaker. You sound genuine, passionate, and very enthusiastic, and there's a lot of confidence. I'm sure by now you don't have any stage fear. Am I right?
Yeah, little to no.
Okay, fine. So keep working on that. Okay. In your group discussion, what I felt was that you could have used more examples and facts. Okay? So next time when you prepare, have more examples and facts to strengthen your argument. That's very important. No matter how confident we sound, that information is important. So work on that. That's one thing.
Sure.
Yeah. And your block and tackle, for that you were very well prepared. You had done your homework, you had very good points. So that's how you should prepare, okay? Yes, and I would also advise you to do a lot of reading and expose yourself more to the language to improve vocabulary. Okay, you can use stronger words to express yourself. Okay, that's my feedback. Yeah, and all the best. Yeah.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Mihir, Ms. Nita will be delivering your feedback.
Hi, Mihir.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. Mihir, your confidence starting an argument was excellent. You just started the group discussion, which was good. And you had a lot of ideas, you had a lot of facts, you had a lot of examples. Excellent. And block and tackle event, again, you had a lot of points prepared, and you delivered it clearly, and the examples given were accurate. The one thing I would like to suggest is during the spontaneous activity, if at all topic is given spontaneous, again, timing of the activity is crucial. Even the last 20 to 30 minutes, try to persuade them with a strong, probably something personal or something for them to take along. That would create a very good impact, especially in a competition. And since you want to become a public speaker, I think that would play a crucial part going forward. So that's my only suggestion for you. Otherwise, you did a great job, and all the best.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll take your advice to heart. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. Meghna? Hi.
Hello, yes.
Yes. So, Meghna, your wide range, again, you have an excellent command over the language, and that comes through very obviously in every round that we cover today. Right? So kudos on that, and keep at it, actually. And you have amazing pace. It's very easy in a round like group discussion or even in storytelling, where it's time to kind of run through your points just so you want to finish it quickly. You didn't do that. That's very difficult to keep control of, even for adults, but you managed it spectacularly. So that was very well done. One of those things, again, a little bit that you could work on in this same aspect would be there were a few extra pauses, and there were a few more hesitant breaks which you could practice and avoid having, because that would kind of take you to a whole other level, which would really keep you going for the rest of your life, right?
Yes.
And you had mentioned that you were working on debating and public speaking and such. So I'm sure in the material, in the earlier rounds, the material for this involved charisma. So if you could incorporate a few of the suggestions in those, so those would make you stand out as a public speaker. That would draw people's attention to what you have to say and what you have to express. So when you want to give people a reason to listen to you, to hear what you've got to say, that will take you to whole new heights combined with your amazing language ability. Right? All the best.
Thank you.
Thus, we come to the end of the finale of Communication Skills category Senior Level Competition, brought to you by TCS iON in partnership with Step from the Hindu Group. We look forward to seeing all of you again for the awards ceremony, and we wish you all the very best. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you for your time and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for this opportunity, ma'am.